I am genuinely sorry that so much of today's show is going to be about Trump and clips of his orange face, but when one guy takes a strong economy and wrecks it, it's kind of hard not to talk about. So here, Andrew Feinberg, a reporter, just very calmly and politely with one question, wrecks, destroys, obliterates, eviscerates, whatever word you want to use, pick the YouTube title that you like, Trump's entire lie here. We talked about already, before getting to that clip, we talked about this one where Trump is blaming Biden for the fact that there was a GDP contraction. But then goes on to explain that underlying, if you removed the impact of the tariffs, the GDP growth would actually be strong. So he says it's Biden's economy and it's strong other than the tariff impacts, which is good because the
basis under which we won the election. Core GDP, and this is, you probably saw some numbers today, and I have to start off by saying that's Biden, that's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is quarterly numbers, and we came in and...
Okay, I know I already went over this in a different segment, sorry for our main show viewers, but just listen, please, because it's really important for what the reporter is going to ask him. Just listen. He says, Biden's fault, this is Biden's economy, and then he gets to...
I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our country in so many ways, not only at the border was more obvious, but we took over his mess in so many different ways. Core GDP, removing distortions from imports, inventories, and government spending.
So that's tariffs and Trump's government disruptions is what he's referring to there. Was
up plus 3% when you add it. We had numbers that despite what we were handed, we turned them around and we were getting them.
So he's struggling to read plus, he says, and core GDP. But he... Give me that soundbite of his verbal mishaps. I feel like
we'll repeat
those moments. But he somehow beautifully explains, even with those verbal mishaps, that the underlying economic metrics indicate a strong economy. But if you incorporate the entire picture that includes the tariff disruptions, then you get a much more weakened economy. I don't know how multiple Trump administration officials are saying this with a straight face. But Trump posted today, this is Biden's stock market. A reporter exposes why that's so ridiculous here. If you appreciate the show, by the way, please do click the subscribe button. And then if you want to go a step further, the join button is somewhere down there. Find it, click it, and join us on the bonus show.
The transition, sir. You frequently took credit for the stock market highs. You said it was a reflection of how well you were doing in the polls. And then after you were elected, you said the stock market highs were a reflection of how well the transition is going and the American people's confidence in your incoming administration. Now, the stock market's not doing so well, and you're saying that's the Biden stock market, yet you are the president. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm not taking credit or discredit for the stock market. I'm just saying that we inherited a mess, both at the borders. You could look at every single one of the people here, and no matter who it is, they're doing better, and they are far superior to what took place for 4 years before us. When you look at prisoners...
I think the comment, let's see, no, it wasn't under this video. If it's under this video, okay, yes. Someone called Machine Pun Kelly did make an interesting point. I didn't expect it to come from MPK, but he did it. When Biden took office, GDP was just a bit over 20 trillion. When Biden left office, GDP was just a bit under 30 trillion. And we looked at the quarterly GDP growth numbers as growth, and then contraction. And that contraption, as Michael Scott would call it, was, of course, Trump's tariff impact. And then he says, let's just look. He thinks we're dumb. Let's just go to his, you can put this up, Jane. Just search Truth Social and scroll. And he said in that clip, I'm not taking credit or discredit, I think he called it. But let's actually go back to that because let's make sure we heard him right.
Every single one of the people here, and no matter who it is.
Stock market, yet you are the president. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm not taking credit or discredit for the stock market.
I'm not taking credit or discredit, which is not what that means. But he posted today, right before this meeting, this is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. That, in every sense of Trump's version of the word, is discredit.
Well, I was being a little bit sarcastic when I said that.
Well, maybe you were, but I'm sick of your sarcasm, all right? It's a little much there, buddy. And then he even admits in the statement that removing the tariff impact, you would have a strong economy. So the reporter doesn't even expose his absurdity because he did it himself. And we looked at a different segment, the split screen of him on January 28th saying, this is Trump's stock market. And then on April 30th saying, this is Biden's stock market. And I don't even know if he realized how devastating the question was to him, because you cannot get more inconsistent than that. You really cannot. So please, I'm begging, MAGA, please stop being insulted like this. It's so embarrassing that you would allow him to treat you like you don't have basic critical thinking skills. I believe that you do. I want to believe that you do. I do believe that you do. Do I believe that you? I do believe that you do. I do believe that you do. I do. And so, I want you to too. Another moment from this cabinet meeting.
Secretary Rubio, can I ask you a question? You brought up El Salvador in your remarks. Have you been in touch with El Salvador about returning Abrego Garcia? Has a formal request from this administration been made?
Well, I would never tell you that. And you know who else I'll never tell? A judge. Because the conduct of our foreign policy belongs to the President of the United States and the executive branch, not some judge. So we will conduct foreign policy appropriately if we need to. But I'll never discuss it. And no one will ever make us discuss it. That's how
you discuss it constantly. Constantly, you're discussing the foreign policy. So I don't know what that means. And also, it's this weird, like, you ask Trump about Abrego Garcia. He says, I don't know, ask Marco. I have nothing to do with that. Ask my lawyers. I don't know. And then you ask Marco and he says, oh, well, the power rests with the president. To which Trump says, it's Marco's deal. To which Marco says, it's the lawyer's deal. To which Trump says, it's the lawyer's deal. To which the lawyers say, the judge doesn't like me. And they keep spitting all over the very idea of judges' power, which is really dangerous, not as dangerous as this escalation.
This country. Don't work with us if you don't want to. And if you're betraying our country, we'll find out who you are and fire you. Just like we'll prosecute judges who are obstructing justice.
Oh. And then she gives this sort of evil grin at the end. Look at this.
Obstructing justice.
We will prosecute and we will send to prison judges who oppose our agenda. All right, Pam. Mike Johnson did an interview with Axios, and I just want to jump into one part of this. They cannot get a concise message on Medicaid. We're going to talk about this more in a segment soon, probably tomorrow, with the amazing Brittany Page. But Medicaid cuts were asked about. Johnson said he was not sure that House Republicans would come up with $500 billion in savings in Medicaid program, but we aspire to that. He argued that the estimate of waste, fraud, and abuse in the program comes to $51 billion a year, tallying to roughly $500 billion over 10 years. Almost certainly not true. Democrats have pounced on the idea of Republicans cutting Medicaid benefits as a part of their mission to lower federal spending. Johnson defended their approach, saying Americans depend on these things, and our job is to shore them up and make sure that we preserve the programs for the people who are genuinely in need and deserve it. You can't get, it's repetitive, I know, but they're repetitive, so you got to respond to them. This same thing they say when they talk about Medicaid and Social Security reform. Sorry, we know that people need these programs, which is why we have to cut them, because that's the only way we're going to shore them up. As they're giving up on the mechanism by which we'd further fund these programs to make sure we don't need to cut people's benefits by giving up trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in tax revenue from the wealthiest as they're pushing for right now. Amid all of this, we look to who can fight them back, do something, and we found our warrior. Ladies and gentlemen, in the north side of the ring, what do they say? In the left corner, what do they say? The UFC. In the corner of the ring, you have Chuck Schumer with...
But it's also going to hurt the kind of medical research and other kinds of great research that is done at Harvard and other universities. So we sent him a very strong letter just the other day asking 8 very strong questions about why this isn't just a pretext.
He sent us Chuck a letter. Okay, good. That's perfect. No, that's great. No, we love that. A strong letter. That's what we got from Chuck. Now, I know that you might think, that's not fair. He might be doing letters and other things. Probably so. It's the imagery of it all, though, right? It's the imagery of Trump's just taking our government and putting it into a blending machine. And Chuck, I said, do you have your glasses over there? Could I grab them? Chuck, they're nasty. Okay, sorry. That's all right. Here. I can't even do his accent, but I have a very strongly worded letter on my desk, and I'm going to put it on Trump's desk. And you better get ready, because when he reads this letter, he's going to find powerful, thick, bold font with I'll still be respectful. I said sincerely, Chuck, but I said we're really flipping PO'd. I put that in the email. I said we're PO'd and we're ticked off. I said we're PO'd and we're ticked off and we're not having it. We will vote to fund the government if you'd like us to, but you might be receiving another letter. And Don, I'm going to stamp it twice. I will put one of those nice little wax seals. It'll be really pretty, but powerful points will be in it. Thank you, Cole. We don't judge any dirtiness on the glasses. Don't worry. And then this whole thing, can we not get teleprompters or something? The reading. We need a stronger Democrat. We need a better option leading the Senate.
Okay. Anyway, this week, as you know, marks the 100 days that Donald Trump has been in office. It is 100 days of chaos.
Chuck, the microphone's in front of you, Chuck. Can I have the glasses back?
Donald Trump has been in office. It is 100 days of chaos. From one end of the government and one end of the...
Can you imagine if I came to you during this show? Donald Trump poses an existential threat. Wow, these are really prescription, Cole. Oh my gosh. Whoa. And the thing is that we need to make sure that we push back against it. You can see on this I put the thing on so that is important. Okay. Chuck. Sometimes I watch these and it leads me to wanting to say, Chuck this.
The country to the other. So let's do a simple review. In these 100 days, what has gone up? Cost of groceries, up. Energy
My head down.
costs, up. Cost of clothes, of homes, of cars, up. What has dropped? Your retirement and 401ks, down.
None of this is right. He's making the right point. But it's all wrong. It's all just, sorry, Chuck. We need more. We need vibrance, right? We need passion. And the strongly worded written letters aren't doing it. Share your thoughts in the comments.